Hello, gaming tankers. I return a little late on this with a brief review and summation of the community map test and my current thoughts of a belated 6 months into the year overview of World of Tanks Modern Armor. But before we get any farther into that, let us give thanks, let us pray, I should say, to the Tanking Gods. Taking Jeebus, grant me the strength to accept the things I cannot change. For wargaming maketh the rules, so wargaming can break the rules. With that out of the way, let's proceed. This map is a fairly good-sized map. It has been specifically designed for Cold War mode, and definitely more towards Era 2, Era 3, so it's a good size. I think it's about 1.4 kilometers. Not the biggest map, well, that's kind of standard largish size for Cold War. Maybe someday we'll get a 1.5 kilometer. Probably not, but it's a good size. The topography's good. It's leaning towards hills. I hope you like climbing up hills and then getting to the top and seeing nothing because no one's there because you totally ignored where your team was going. Oh wait, what's that? It's the enemy team. They're all here. Yeah, that'll happen probably. Now the hills offer just obviously a good vantage point from a distance for sniping. However, because there's so many hills and great sight lines around the map with some obstruction so you don't see everything, you can still find yourself being spotted from far away at a distance and of course from another hill. So you're it's going to allow for some sniping, but you just don't want to sit around too long and move. There are a few other little cubby holes and stuff to hide in and peek out from, but so far the first test run, it was good. Definitely enjoyed myself. Wish we could have gotten more time with it, but that will come soon enough. Hopefully, because I think it's safe to call this as just a beta. Obviously you can see some of the shadowing is a bit, rendering is a bit off, sort of, but no one, I didn't fall through the map. Maybe you did. If not, hey, if you did fall through, if you had any glitches or problems, by all means, comment down below. So, and the size and this type of topography and how I see this could be, it could, like, the Cold War Era 2 mediums may have their dominant for, ugh. Mediums might have an advantage here, but that could be tempered by ATGM light tanks, the light tanks, and light and smaller tank destroyers. So this could definitely be a light tank map, which that's fine. You know, for every Himmelsdorf, there's an LLMA. It's great. Though, you depending on how you view this and how, if you like quick matches or if you like fast matches, there will probably, as we've started to see, especially with some of Era 3 matches ending with the whole, hide and seek with a Visel, we may be finding some more seek and destroy type conclusions to matches. So get ready to be hunting down maybe that M50 Ontos or that BMP2. Obviously the Visel. So that might be kind of a more of a tense situation, while at the same time being a small and hitting hard tank like the Visel or Biglet Spencer, depending on the range. Of course, the ATGM factor or arming distance could be an issue. Although with such vast more distance, ATGMs are more usable here in that long distance support role, i.e. like artillery. This will allow for some matches to where, we kind of started to see it a little bit in the Era 3. It was like, oh, it's 1v6, 1v8. And then with patience, skill, and determination, a single player with the right ATGMs, just hitting the right spot, like, can still conceal defeat from the clutches of victory. Or, no, wait. Conceal victory from the clutches of defeat. So, yeah, there we could see some reversals. This map might lend to that. Who knows? So, I'm looking forward to testing it out more. I think it's a good fit for Cold War. A smaller version will be brought into World War II, although some World War II players may be like, I don't care, just give me a new map. I want new maps. New maps, not returning old maps. And this community map is that. Although I didn't fill out any obnoxious surveys and I didn't get to choose any pictures from a slideshow of what I wanted in this map. So community, as in Wargaming, the Chicago division, was like, alright, here's some things they like, and here we go. That's what I liked. On to the cons. The hills, I feel, are kind of a band-aid for Era 3. As Era 3, one of my big grievances with it now is all the MBTs have great acceleration, and they always hit their top speed, all of them. And the only time they don't is when they go up a hill. So instead of finding a way to increase terrain resistances, especially on the soft terrain, it's like, we'll just go up a hill and hope, you know, another tank or an ATGM capable vehicle isn't at the right angle to hit you from behind or the side. It's alright. There are pathways through this map, kind of not quite straightaways, but open terrain where you could probably wolfpack with efficiency, and that's kind of where I don't see this changing that. So I don't. But then again, some people are not really caring about that. They still, I guess we're getting used to the go-kart aspect of Era 3. Then here's something that it's a little more, it's not as serious, but the fun factor of this map seems to have been tempered. I.e., there was the potential for some dumb jumps that light tanks could possibly could take advantage of, but then they were like, no. Either the gap was too wide or the terrain one level was too higher than the other. It's like, how many times, like the only time we get it is on the bridge on Vineyards, where you can, certain tanks, especially World War II, but almost most of the tanks in Cold War, you can fly over that. But there is a whole section in this map that was like, almost looks like you could jump over to the other side, but it's too far away. You don't quite see it because of one level's higher than the other, but it was like, oh, why can't we have an escape route that only light tanks can take advantage of, because it means they have to jump over a gap? Why can't we have that? And before it's, oh, it gives an advantage to the light tank. But come on. How epic would it be to just snipe a light tank out of midair? Like, that's a scenario that was like, oh, we could have it, but we really don't. It's kind of like, well, the only thing you can do is like, well, if the light tank jumps off a cliff and I can shoot it before it crashes. Yeah, it would be kind of cool to see that kind of setup. I mean, some of us think we should just have a race car, or a race course in Cold War. Others, like me, think we should have a skate park. Who knows? But yeah, I was like, that could have been some fun to have, a little dumb fun in this video game. Now, on to the part of this video where I kind of address the game as a whole. And I'm going to keep this simple, because I thought 3 requests was an agreeable number for my end of the year wrap up, but no, apparently not. So we're going to bring it down to 2. All right there, Chicago boys. So going back to the terrain resistance, Era 3, I wish the tanks on terrain that is soft and muddy and swampy and filled with water, rice pads, swamps, open fields, that just felt like you actually had to, it took longer to get the top speed, if possible, or not at all. It really is hard. You look at other tank games, it's like, yeah, it does, you don't really, sand slows you down. You don't just glide across the top of it. And though this brings up a topic of conversation I think we might need to have more now. Because every once in a while you've seen comments when criticisms are being shot at Era 3, it's like some players actually like this, the high rate of speed of these things. They like how chaotic it is. They like that frenetic energy. So maybe I'm beginning to wonder if, like, the console division is kind of leaning into that, and that's why they're not really touching it. But for the more traditional players, like, there's not a lot of strategy. It gets kind of brain dead once you get to Era 3 because of how similar the MBTs are. The armor profiles do change a little bit. Some have better turrets, some have better front glacis. Lower glacis are usually not an issue, but with all the tanks across the board being able to do 60 kilometers per hour and above, yeah, that whole speed really is an equalizer, because then it's like, all right, who's got the better pen, the better turret rotation, and the better armor? And a lot of the MBTs kind of have a good combination of all three, leaving out light tanks and some tank destroyers, Type 89. So it's kind of like, yeah, if you're, with the exception of like the Malot, the Weissel, yeah, that's basically it. If you want to do well or have a good time in Era 3, you've got to, you're going to play an MBT, whether it's Tech Tree or Premium. And I think that's kind of, yeah, I realize that's kind of what we've done in the world, in the real world, but at the same time, we're seeing light tank being also brought back into the fold as, troop supports and maybe even some reconnaissance support for the main MBTs. Main MBTs, yes. The larger MBTs. And I don't know. Comment down below. Do you like the chaos of Era 3? Do you think that's what makes Cold War special? Because World of Tanks, or I should say Wargaming as a company, is kind of seems to be toying with this idea as they are coming out with a new tank game, and they had it was a beta test for this like earlier this year, Project Cold War, and it is definitely not a real world simulator. So it is definitely going hard into the arcade with customizable tanks, unique commanders, and missiles. So who knows? And then I'll wrap this up with the hill I'm still willing to die on, and this one I'm gonna get a little pissed off about, is there's still not a proper map boundary. It's still just that checkered line. 10 years on, and there's no true visual indicator from a distance that you are nearing the edge of the map. And if you are in a firefight, if you're running away, if you're trying to relocate to find a better position, sometimes the map itself can lead you astray. There are pathways you think that lead you to a new place, but they just lead you to the map boundary. I'm looking at you, Dragon's Ridge. And sometimes it's blocked off by bushes, and you don't realize. You think, oh, I'm just going to go over this hill and hide behind. Like, oh no, at the top of the hill is the map boundary, but you couldn't tell it because there's bushes. It is very frustrating, and to me, it's a sign that this is still an unpolished game. That's ridiculous at this stage. Come on, how is this? How did you put out this game without from the beginning being like, this is the basic requirement for a multiplayer game? Like, well, we have something. We have not quite a band-aid. We have tape on the ground. Yay! Don't cross this line. There's an invisible wall at least to keep you from crossing the line, but it's like building, designing, and selling a car, but you didn't put any paint on. You put the clear coat to protect it, but like the customer's like, what colors does it come in? None. You don't have any paint colors to choose from? Nope. Not even gonna pull off Henry Ford and make it black? Nope. Right now, our main concerns are not paint. It is cup holders, speed, and hood design. And to make this really annoying, last week's weekly assault stream, I brought up this question, and bam, lead game designer said, at least acknowledge, yeah, we have a ticket, it's on the to-do list, but it keeps getting bumped down and being reprioritized because we feel other things are more important. I get where they're coming from, but it's still like how I can't recommend this game because like it just doesn't have that one basic thing as like of a map boundary. Like, man, I don't know, it's like redneck ingenuity is like, hey, it's not perfect, but it works, so let's just focus on something else. And I know there's a lot of issues with the game, and I'm sure someone will sound off, but for the sake of making this simple to make me happy, those are my two things. And if you liked those two things, like and subscribe. If you kind of feel like, man, how much more simply can we make this for you guys besides just throwing your hands up in the air and finding another game, which, man, games as a service may on the one hand becoming annoying / dying, at the other hand, there's a lot to choose from, so sound of down below. But at the same time, hold on, wait. I kind of like, I know we got deserts. Deserts seem to be becoming a thing. I know there's a lot of tank battles in deserts, but you know, North America, and I'm pretty sure that this is somewhere in Arizona, New Mexico-ish. Doesn't really say, but there might be an American military base there. There is not a UFO crashed somewhere on this map. Wink, wink. We have. Can we get a forest map? I mean, come on, let's get something like a temperate, rainforest, like somewhere in Washington and Oregon, maybe Northern California, Give me the opportunity to hunt down and run over to Sasquatch in a T-55. You may not like it, but I think that son of a bitch needs to go down, alright? Give me a map like that, alright? Hills and trees. America's got plenty of those, alright? Not just dirt and sand and hills. Alright. Craziness aside, I hope you keep your tracks on the ground, RNG's in your favor, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye.